What's this?
Hello, welcome to the Freak Show. Bumpy McSquigums here. I want to thank you all for joining me as I start up my coverage of Torment Tides of Numenera. I've been excited about this title since I think I actually knew about it when it first was announced way back in the day. In fact, I reached out to them so early on that they didn't even have any kind of playable build or anything close to that I could do coverage of way back then. Eventually, I reached out to them again, and they were ready for, like, beta testing and alpha and stuff like that. So it was like a year and a half later or something like that. So I've been waiting for this title for a very long time. I am going to endeavor with everything I can, every breath I draw, to finish this game from beginning to end. I think it's going to be a fantastic title. It's from inXile Entertainment and Techland Publishing, and it released today, the last month of February 28th, 2017. And that's it. Let's hop in and begin. Start. Now, I did play a first look that was only 1 or 2 episodes long. I was going to do more, but I really didn't want to spoil the story for myself. I wanted to be able to get in when it was fresh and new and just be like, yes. So, we will be male.
Your mind wakes in darkness. Aching cold sets into an unfamiliar body. A distant howling surrounds you, louder with each passing second. Insistent and invisible hands slap and tear at the membrane that protects you.
Now, I do know from my first experience with this, you can actually die before you ever play the game. Just so you guys know, there is an option or a series of options that will kill you. So, it was hilarious. If you guys want to go see what that was, go back, check out my first look video. It's pretty funny. But hopefully we can remember what not to do and do the right thing this time around.
Your first emotion is an involuntary and formless panic. You feel you have forgotten something important, as if it once meant the world to you, but the details slip away as you grasp at them.
Alright.
You force your eyes open.
Okay, so we can look at this body or look around. Let's take a look at our body.
The body is... wait, you are wearing a form-fitting suit of some dark material. You recall that you were wearing something much more elaborate a short time ago. You have smooth, light brown skin, 5 fingers on each hand, 5 toes on each foot.
That's good.
Good muscles, strong but not bulky, and slim hips. Your palms are soft, as if they have not done much labor, but scars and burns on the hands and wrists suggest that you haven't always been careful. Why can't you remember this?
I do actually have soft palms. I don't know why, and I have done manual labor back in the day, as it were. However, Splooch, he actually has the softest palms out of anyone in the entire universe, apparently. Really soft palms. How do I know this? Splooch is my father. Figured it was appropriate with, all the Star Wars stuff coming at it. It's fine. Alright, onward.
Without warning, the cocoon that surrounds you shreds and tears away. You are falling. Above you, a small moon is slowly collapsing in on itself. The world is many kilometers below you.
Okay, so a moon is collapsing in on itself. The world is, well, pretty far below me, but we are plummeting toward it, and the wind is getting loud, like obnoxiously so. I tried to adjust the sound. We may have to tinker with it a little bit as we go through, but we'll see. Alright, we can look at the horizon. We can flatten out to catch the wind. We can try to judge how far the ground is, or how far it is to the ground. Or we could dive toward the ground. Let's dive toward the ground. That sounds like a terrible idea.
Put your hands to your sides, and you slice through the air. The wind tears at your face and scalp, and your skin burns under the tremendous speed. Your vision blurs, and you are unable to judge how far you've fallen.
Alright, let's look around real quick.
Your eyes are full of tears. You can't see anything except a shapeless mass of green and brown and tan and blue below you. You try to wipe the moisture from your eyes and realize that you'll need to slow yourself before you can even open your eyes.
Alright, so we're going to try to flatten out now.
You manage to stabilize yourself, but the air howls and whips around you, and the bay under your feet is larger by the moment.
Alright, give up and dive, give up and hope. I guess we're going to give up. Oh, let's look around. We should be able to see now.
Glassy dome inside the littered bay. 2 figures outside it. One of them points his arm at you, and a riot of colors tangles your fall, slowing you, but not enough. You crash into the building, and as your consciousness winks out, you hear the sounds of the structure collapsing around you, and then darkness.
Darkness. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we survived. Yes, I have died doing that one particular thing there before. It was not a great experience for me. And here we are, in our lovely, lovely mohawk. I think it's a mohawk. Maybe it's just short cropped hair, I don't know. Alright, we should be able to move around with W, A, S, and D with the map, and it looks like we can. We can zoom in and out with our mouse wheel. And apparently light water is falling from the sky. It's a bit odd, to be sure. So it says we can interact with this. Jumble thoughts cloud your head as you study the empty bowl before you. Drops of liquid fall from the ceiling, spattering on the ground next to the bowl. The light from every drop is reflected in the bowl's rounded hollow as if it hungers for that light. It needs to be filled, yet the bowl remains dry. Another drop falls from the ceiling and splashes across the pylons, wasted. I don't know what that said there. I went to scroll down, see if there was more options, and it just disappeared. Alright, so I believe this is how you do your... I know this is how you do your character creation. You get to choose various different things as we go through this opening area, and it kind of crafts or builds the character around it. I don't have any idea what any builds do. I don't know anything about this. I literally stopped in the midway part of doing this because, again, I wanted this to be fresh and exciting for me. Now, granted, it was like a year ago that I did the first look, so I probably could have played a little bit more. But I like to keep it as blind as possible. Not know as much of what's coming as I can. So, yeah, we're almost to the point where I have no idea what I'm doing anymore, which is fantastic, or terrible, depending on how you look at it. Alright, well, I'm going to use Might. Might. Or I can examine the bowl. Let's examine the bowl first. You trace your fingers over the slippery, overlapping scales that spiral up from the bottom of the bowl. The sharp-toothed rim plucks at your skin. It's going to be tricky to move the bowl without slicing your fingers on the edge. You might have to put some effort into it. Reflected light streaks across the surface of the bowl as another droplet falls from the ceiling. We can examine it again. The slick, overlapping scales have sharp, hungry edges that nip at your flesh. Each shining drop of liquid from the unseen ceiling seems to linger in the bowl's polished depths. Alright, Might time. You've encountered your first task. You have 3 stat pools: Might, Speed, and Intellect. You can spend to increase the chances of success. This is called using effort. Okay. To more easily move the bowl in front of you, use the left click to spend Might for a higher level of effort. Don't worry if you fail this task. In Torment, failure often results in interesting outcomes. Alright, continue. Well, there's 80, or we can do 100%. I'm going to say 80. Well, it didn't give me a choice. Don't click, guys and gals. Hover over it to see what the percentage changes. Once you click, it's set in stone. So just be aware of that. You carefully take hold of the bowl, avoiding the teeth of the serrated rim. With a deep breath, you move it over the glowing pool of fallen light. With our minds. It's fine. Sweet. Look at us doing things. Drop by drop, the bowl fills, ripples spreading over the blurred outline of your reflection. A pale blue luminescence stretches into the corners of the room. A clear radiance spills across the segmented floor, washing away the nearest shadows and pouring into your mind, melting the ragged edges of your fragmented thoughts. You are not whole, not yet, but you have begun to heal from the damage done in your long fall. A voice calls out from somewhere high above, beyond the reaches of the spreading light. Hello? Are you still alive down there? We're up here. Build a path up to us, but be careful. Oh, because we can do that with our minds. So as you can see, we can zoom in and out with our mouse wheel. Pretty good stuff. It looks like we used a little bit of our might, I guess. You think our might would go up if we did a might checked type deal. Hold on, let's interact with the pool now. I think it's just literally a light source at this point, but still. The rippling surface of the bowl shines with its own light. We'll leave the bowl alone. Alright, onward we go. Oh, the pathing's a little weird there, but that's fine. What is this? As soon as you touch the orb, a memory floods your mind. You stand in front of a rusted door. The air is humid and dank. You've had a moment's respite from this waterlogged hell, a bubble of stale air, your resting point. Huh. You breathed water before, and you've lived decades beneath the waves, but this body's an air breather, and constant pressure has been crushing you, ever so subtly. Worse, your companion's mind seems to be wandering from the task at hand. He's a genius with machines, as you well know. But now he seems distracted. Fair enough. Sorry, I'm looking around at the shiny bits over here. It just basically gave us like a blurred effect there. The device in his hands is covered in knobs, wires, and antennas. He believes it can get the two of you through the corroded door, but he's merely staring at it. Perhaps he's lost his faith in his invention. But that is hardly your concern. The mission cannot be delayed. It must proceed. Deceive him by telling him that you've heard sounds of pursuit. Threaten him until he returns to the task at hand. This is taking too long. Cast a spell and esotery to fix the device yourself. We're gonna threaten him. Your shouted word seems muffled in the stale air. Your companion flinches away from you. Sorry, I just wanted to be sure I hadn't made a mistake. He makes minute adjustments to the knobs and blinking levers of the device, and the stale air of your bubble freshens as the door swings open. A dark hallway lies beyond, a passage that links the water-bordered cells and the aquatic viewing areas. What you seek lies there. Moments later, you're underwater again, your hands closing around a strange yet familiar object. You need it to complete something. It hovers above a pedestal rotating in the dark water. An electric current runs through your fingers as your hand crosses the vertical plane on the pedestal. An iridescent field coalesces so fast that the wave of pressure dazes you for a moment. The rising pulse of a sonar alarm ripples through the water. The guards won't be far behind. Run, you can come back for it later. They won't be able to protect it forever. Disable the sonar pulse. Use the device to stop them. One of the ciphers in your belt. We'll disable the sonar pulse. You focus on the cloudy base of the pedestal. Okay, your fingers instinctively find the control panel for the jeweled force field, almost as if you had built it in the first place. You remove it, casting it to the side, and reach inside to deactivate the crystals that power both the pulse and the pedestal. As you remove them, a scaly hand falls on your shoulder. Your head whips around and you see only the inky blackness of a Piscine eye. So a pig? Okay. The memory fades, or begins to fade, as if you were being drawn backward through a tunnel, and you hear more pylons rising from the pit. Something is wrong. The events within the orb have settled into that gap in your mind, but the edges of it are rough, as though the memory itself is not truly yours. There's something else, a gust of sour air pulling at you like a predator inhaling the scent of its prey at the far end of a dark, whispering field. Well, that can't be good. Or maybe it's amazing. I don't know. We'll have to see. Alright, so can we have our area? I'm like, can we move again? Because I feel like moving sounds like a legit strat. Okay, so we're here. We're the last cast off, apparently. What do we have here? We have items, ciphers, consumables, and abilities granted by equipped items. And then over here we have character abilities. Cool. I'm not going to go into any of that stuff until we're at the point where we need to do so. Is there a button that allows us to see everything that needs to be detected? It's tab. Okay. This mirror looks strange, as though you see in it... what you see in it is real, and you're the reflection. Say that again? As though what you see in it is real, and you're the reflection? Okay. Alright, I got you. Metal waves roll over the floor below, sending vibrations through the soles of your boots. If you guys want to know what button it is that brings us up, it is the tab button. Now, I believe this game actually has 100% full controller compatibility if you get it on the PC, because I believe it also released on other platforms. I don't know. This is stuff that I remember, and it could be I'm thinking of another game entirely, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. And I also vaguely remember seeing a controller control option in the options menu. So if you guys like using controllers for games like this, you can definitely do so. Alright, let's examine this. The light around the door's frame dims and flares like roaring fire in a high wind. No sign or symbol tells you what might be behind this enormous door. A dull chill radiates from its bronzed, segmented source, and the thick metal wheel seems frozen in place. Countless scratches and wounds mar the surface of this door. Someone made a great effort to get inside, to no avail. Next orb! You stand beside a woman on a verdant crag. Beneath the two of you is a broad plateau towering above the overgrowth far below. Strange machines have been built into the cliffside, presumably for reconnaissance or defense. A metallic disc gleams from the center of the plateau. Your self-aware humanoid machines drill into the base of the cliffs below. If you were looking for a sanctuary, and you were desperately, this seems like the right place. Interesting. Looks like you'll be able to use abilities in certain areas, which is cool. I don't know about this, the woman says, her voice flat, neutral. Her face is turned away from you. What makes this place any more secure than the other ones that we found? Well, we can draw her attention to the hidden details that your more experienced eye can clearly see. Use your charm to persuade her of the merits of the site and to remind her of the time constraints. Well, we can also convince her with the wisdom of our superior intellect. I'm going to draw her attention to the hidden details. You shade your eyes against the bright sun so that you can point out the thin bands radiating from the metallic disc, how the energy from those bands affects the local fauna, suggesting an enormous source of prior world energy. She thinks deeply. It's geologically sound? Have you run the sounding samples and checked the strata? No major caverns or weakness showed up on your resonance scans? Maybe? She waits for your affirmation and says, "Alright, well, I'm convinced." The two of you sketch your plans for the sanctuary, drawing schematics and architectural diagrams. Then you descend onto the plateau to examine the open ground. The woman suggests having one of the servitors build a shelter for your time here. You try to draw one of the constructs away from its task, but it doesn't respond to your voice. When you lay a hand on its shoulders to reinforce your command, it whirls and strikes you across the face with inhuman speed. It turns back to its task and ignores you. Your companion helps you rise, laughter in her eyes. It seems your construct has other ideas. What's the matter with it? Use the Numenera integrated into the construct's body to overwhelm the behavior malfunction. Examine the construct for mechanical faults. Look for a deeper solution. Perhaps it's an effect of the metallic disc itself. Interesting choices. I sort of want to do the brute force method. That's like how I want to do things, but I'm not sure that's going to be the right play. I don't know. So we're gonna try to overwhelm it. A mist falls onto the plateau as you activate the time-scarred artifacts. Okay, fastened to the construct's behavioral core with a sub-vocalized command. With an abrupt clack and a pulse of pleasant warmth, the devices purge the air, and 7 copper-banded spheres drop out of evenly spaced rifts in the air. That's weird. Ignoring this common side effect, you give new orders to the malfunctioning construct in a firm, clear voice. Acknowledged. It obediently trundles to the site of your new shelter. Huh. Neat. The image freezes, then fades, and you feel the memory filling the gap in your mind, block by jagged block. You stagger, clutching your head, reclaiming your memories. Hurts. And once more, there's something else. Hairs lift one by one on the back of your neck. Something beyond this room can sense what you are doing, and is haunting you. Okay. Looks like we're going to yet another orb. More orb fun. Because why wouldn't we have more orb fun, eh? To the orb! A vision of a city springs up around you, your city in flames and under attack. Our defenders have fought and died all day, and still the attackers keep coming. They fight as if your destruction were demanded of them. They care nothing for mercy, surrender, or plunder. What they want is blood. But you have brought a keen-eyed companion to the top of the tower. She has seen the way to stop the invaders. You need to get her to safety, and you need to rally your defenders. But, even as you turn toward the door of the tower, 2 of the attackers descend from a hovering machine. You don't have time to strike at them before they land. One is brutishly large, his weapon a vibrating axe. The other is slim, sheathed in glassy armor and holding a hilt with a sizzling invisible blade. Your companion backs away. She's too young to help. Your enemies advance, single file, confined by the parapet. Alright, so we have one axe, we have one guy he's really big and he has a vibrating axe, while the other is slim and sheathed in glassy armor. A sizzling invisible blade. We can trade blows with the giant. You can handle it, at least for a strike or two. Duck under the giant's swing and attack before he can strike. Fight defensively and figure out who presents the bigger threat. Defensively is what we're going to do. It's going to be the smaller one. Memory seems crystal clear. The giant is menacing, it's true, but the invisible blade of the companion is more worrisome still. The energy field that flickers and wavers around it suggests that she can carve matter at the molecular level, tearing pieces of her target into nothingness. If you're to save yourself, your best bet is to tackle her first. She's stuck behind the giant, waiting her turn to attack you, unable to bring her weapon to bear until he's out of the way. But it's clear that she expects him to handle you, and her eyes rove behind you, her focus on your ward. She's certainly not expecting you to die between the giant's legs and come up inside her guard. She can't bring her blade to bear in time, and you drive your dagger up under her chin. Oh, well, that's lovely and graphic. You catch her before her deadly blade drops onto you and spin her around. The weapon slashes into the giant and he topples, bisected. Wow, we're amazing. The immediate threat ended. You focus on finding a way back to your allies. You open the tower door and rush down the stairs. The door at the base of the stairs is slightly cracked, opening just a bit into the hall, and you hear more of the enemy soldiers beyond. You can hurl yourself against the door and knock them to the ground. You can crack open the door to sneak past them, charge through them, counting on your defenses to protect you. I think we're going to hurl at the door. You charge through the dim shadows, dropping your shoulder into the door at the last moment. It bursts open. Halfway through its arc, it crashes into the pair of enemy soldiers, scattering them. You race through the door, blade in hand. You dispatch the stunned foes before they even have a chance to move. Their blood begins to pool in the hallway. The memory begins to fade, and you find yourself back in your own body. Your temples throb with the racing force of your heartbeat, and the reclaimed memories blaze within you. Like a bonfire on a mountain peak, and visible to every predator for kilometers around. The tremor rocks the floor beneath you, as though a massive fist has struck the room itself, swaying on your feet. You see frantic movement within the borders of the mirror at the edge of the room. So we're going to head over there now. This, I believe, is where we actually broke off the first look video. Like I said, I was hoping to do more, but at the same time I was like, I don't really want to. So, this is all new from this point forward. I only vaguely remember the storied elements that we did up to this point. So, like, I remember there were 3 choices that we had to make. Oh, well, that's interesting. Alright, let's interact with the mirror. The border of this mirror is lavishly decorated with a dizzying number of interlocked symbols, daggers, masks, paintbrushes, amulets, and more. But that's nothing compared to what you see in the glass. You see a vast crowd of people, exact doppelgangers of you, shoving, arguing with, and fighting each other. Most are drab imitations of you, but a precious few are vivid and pull at your attention. Each of them bears an intricate pentagonal tattoo on their head. In their eyes, their actions, you see the memories you discovered within the orbs and the choices you made, shining like distant stars. Your hand twitches at your side. And though some of the bright doppelgangers ignore you, an even smaller number immediately turn to you, waiting for you to choose them and learn what you might become. Interesting. A rumble shakes the room. A slow vibration spreads from the darkness below, rippling toward the ceiling. Okay, let's see here. Ooh, that's the one right there, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Point at the doppelganger observing all the others. Point at the strong doppelganger shoving its way through the group. That might be good, too. Point at the strong-willed doppelganger. Point at the hulking doppelganger with wrath in his eyes. Let's go with the strong. It thunders toward you like a mountain on legs, scattering your duplicates everywhere. The threat in his eyes is as obvious as daylight. A rumble comes from somewhere deep in its chest as it waits for your decision. I want to consider the other choices. Let's see what the other choices are from the things that we've actually made. Observing all the others. Sidling around the edge of the unruly crowd, the doppelganger cautions you to silence with the finger on its lips. Together you scan the room and its inhabitants, noting every potential hazard and hearing every drip of strange liquid in the depths beneath your feet. Quietly. So that would be like a rogue class. I'm assuming. I don't know, guys. This is all assumptions at this point. I would like to consider others. Let's see. The strong-willed doppelganger. It reaches the other side of the mirror and touches its side of the glass. The surface blurs and a vision unfolds before you. Okay. Doppelganger is shackled at the center of a vast arena beneath the hulking shadow of an executioner. Unbowed by the jeers of the savage audience, the doppelganger speaks forcefully, frighteningly, of what will come after its death and the consequences thereof. The mob's shouting dies, one voice at a time. Then, in perfect silence, the doppelganger meets the executioner's eyes. Trembling, the brute swings his axe and severs the doppelganger's chains, setting it free. The arena fades away, replaced by the squabbling group. The strong-willed doppelganger lowers its hand and awaits your decision. Its chin high and proud. Well, that sounds like a pretty cool and legit character, but no. And then what about the hulking doppelganger with wrath in his eyes? Whirling a club with brutal grace, the doppelganger clears the path through the crowd and stomps toward the mirror. It glowers at you, then bashes the club against the ground and roars in your face. Huh. I think we're going to go with the strong one, but not the psychopathic one. So we're going to go with the strong doppelganger. Alright. Continue. Yes, this is who I am. The remaining doppelgangers scatter for the edges of the mirror and vanish. Your chosen identity steps forward. Its appearance changes as it steps out of the rippling glass. Oh, that's weird. Its face reflects confidence and cleverness. Shadows of weapons flicker in and out of its hands. A few devices shimmer on its belt. You get the feeling you, would be comfortable in a variety of situations. The word Jack sounds in your mind. Gained descriptor. Strong. Okay. Your doppelganger continues walking, stepping into you, filling you, making you whole. Your decision rings out into the cavernous room, awakening and unlocking vast mechanisms behind the walls. Suddenly, a grotesque noise rings through your shared words, like a bell if bells could rot. Something is coming. Hey! Cool, scary, terrifying. The mirror fades, leaving a dark, open doorway. You take a deep breath and step through. Character creation. Sweet. Your choices in the memories in the mirror have begun to build your character, but now you have the opportunity to decide on a number of details. First, you can decide to change your type. Type defines abilities and skills, and you'll be able to acquire as you advance. Alright, so the different character types are Glaive, Jack, and Nano. Oh, seems very, not overly complicated, but like there's quite a bit here. So the Glaive has endurance, got a lot of might. Huh. All of them have a decent amount of might. This one just has a little bit more. A strong Glaive, a strong Jack, or a strong Nano. I feel like the Jack is like the worst of the worst. Just from looking at the stats alone. I don't know what like all this stuff is, but just from the stats alone, it looks quite bad. Like this guy looks like he's the man. The Nanos are sometimes called me. Alright, so let's actually read this real quick. Actually, you know what, guys and gals? I'm going to be releasing like 3 episodes. I want to get through the character creation, and I want to get at least 1 episode of actual gameplay and story and everything else. So I think I'll break it off here. So the character creation took a little bit longer than most games do, which is totally fine, but it also had some storyline parts to it, so that's always good. So I think I'll break off the first episode here, and I will continue with the character creation in the next episode, and then we'll get into the game proper, and then hopefully the 3rd episode is all about the gameplay, the story, and everything else that comes with the game. I'm really looking forward to this, guys and gals. I hope you are as well. If you want more information about the game, where to get the game, information on the developer, information on the publisher, or any of that wonderful fun stuff, it'll all be down below in the description of the video and various links. If you guys didn't check out my non-death-defying death, I just died. In the first look video, go check that out to search for First Look or Bumpy McSquigum's First Look Tides of Numenera or Torment Tides of Numenera. It should be there somewhere. It was pretty funny. Just go watch just the first part where I die, then all the rest of the stuff will be kind of the same. If you guys really enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. It helps out a lot, especially in these early videos. It helps tremendously being visible against all the giant names that are out there, especially as smaller guys. So any kind of interaction, comments, and things like that does help out a lot. please do that for me if you would. If you enjoyed yourself and you want to hang out and do stuff on the channel, well, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the very next episode. Until then, my name's Bumpy McSquigums. Thank you so much for stopping by the Freak Show, and I will see you later.